So good afternoon and welcome to the 13th Consultative Forum on Mobile Insurance and InsurTech, Rising to the Regulatory Challenge. So this seminar is jointly organised by the International Association of Insurance Supervisors, the African Insurance Association, the Microinsurance Network and the Access to Insurance Initiative.
This is my third consultative forum, but it's my first on African soil, and so I'm particularly happy to be here today. I'd like to accord special thanks to Priska for her welcome and her organisation and the support of her team, because of course they are co-hosting this event with us, and it's important to us that we always partner with local organisations, national, regional organisations for these events.
When people talk about InsurTech in particular, they're often talking about how much money is being invested in InsurTech and how that is growing. So one side of the InsurTech development was what we were talking about before, what you can do with it, how we're getting more connected, all of those sorts of things. Another part is how people are actually spending money on InsurTech and how much that is growing. Almost all of the charts look like this, like getting bigger and bigger all the time. And possibly also showing different areas where InsurTech is going on. What this points out to me in particular, and this is actually 2016, the most recent data point on this one, I happen to borrow from PwC, but there are plenty of charts available that look like this, is that it is getting bigger and bigger, and it's been getting bigger for at least 5 or 6 years, since 2012. Now, for most of us involved in the regulatory side of insurance, we are only just joining this party. But what this tells me is that a lot of people have been doing stuff in this area for some time, and it's not only is it growing, but it's growing very fast.
So there are different approaches that we've taken within the Kenyan space, and this is all about embracing the change. And when we talk about that change, what we've seen in the market is that innovation has been taken as part of the regulatory culture. We encourage innovation. We in a way familiarize with the new trend as a regulator. And this really brings up a very important aspect whereby companies can see the potential future in terms of how do they share the new ideas that are coming within that particular space. So it's quite important to have a regulator that thinks through and also embraces that particular change.
I think the challenge for the regulators is to have an open mind. Yes, the law defines insurance to be a certain thing, but if increasingly you're getting products that look like insurance and they're becoming popular, that should tell you something, that probably what you're regulating is not appealing to the public. It's not meeting the needs of the public. Then probably you need to rethink in terms of the scope and you're thinking about what you're regulating. That, I believe, is what will make you a progressive regulator.
Regardless of the explicit legal mandate, if the regulator is interested in encouraging that innovation and sees the benefit of that innovation, a lot of the legal structures often accommodate some degree of market development and regulation, and allows a little bit of discretion around things like how do you think about licensing, how do you think about product approval, how strict are you, and what are the trade-offs that you're considering within that space. So even though you don't have an explicit market conduct market development mandate, there's still a big role to play if the regulator is actually excited about trying to figure out how the market works and how to get more people better served.
And in general, I think it boils down to these questions, like how can regulators create a conducive environment so that new things can be tested, so that we can learn about how this works. And on the other side, how can we create, on the other side, consumer protection mechanisms that sort of put clients first and a positive experience that should be helping towards a viable business model.
Unfortunately, in this industry, at least in the space that we play in, people do not have any trust for insurance because, one, they did not even understand the sale. Two, they don't understand the product. Three, the product does not speak to their lives. It doesn't give them the kind of value that they usually would want. So it is important that when you are selling your product, the product is sold in a very simple and easy to understand language. In fact, the sale should be as simple as, give me this and you get that.
On the value that consumers place on data and their data protection themselves. I mean, that's what you see in all markets, that consumers are quite quickly on clicking the box, don't understanding how the data is used, and even if they understand it, often they don't see the implications of it. So if I think like discrimination will lead to higher prices or even exclusion, and I think for the area of low income, higher risk people, this is like a real risk. And for like, if through more segmentation that leads to a complete resolution of this whole insurance risk pool, I think that is something that insurance supervisors should consider. And it's like, even like in most markets, it's not that people themselves take care of the data or see really what is happening, the implications in the end. It's that's the role of the supervisors, to take care of that discrimination, which can lead to harm to the people, is prevented.